Hi everybody. We went to Merida, Mexico, and we got home last night. So we were just trying to think of questions that you guys might have for us. So we thought of a few of those, and we're going to try to answer them for you guys today, just as best as possible. And also, before we start, we just want to thank everyone for supporting us. You guys gave so generously to us, and your just money just went to helping us get to Mexico and just helping us just be able to do the things we did down there. And you'll hear what we did about it in just a few moments. What did we do? Okay. So our first question that we thought you guys might have is, what did we do? So we left 2 Saturdays ago from St. Louis, and so we flew out of St. Louis to Texas, and then we left from Texas to Merida. And so we got to Merida really late. It was like midnight, 1, and we went out to eat at a pizza place. And I learned very quickly that in Mexico, the people stay out really late. Like as it kept getting later, more people just kept showing up, and I was in a lot of shock when that happened. And so after that, we just went back to the church and kind of unpacked and went to bed. And on Sunday, we split up into 2 groups. Nicole and I were with Matt, and Cole was in a different group with a different group of people. So we're going to tell you about what each of our groups did. So on Sunday, we had church at the church we were staying at, and it was just very cool and a neat experience just to get them to see how different places around the world just worship God, and but also how similar it was. So we had church with them when we went to their Sunday school, and after that we just had lunch at the church. Some sweet ladies at the church, they cooked like every meal for us, and it was good food. It was good food. And so after that we went to a pretty small town. It was more of a rougher part of Merida. So after we went to that, we made a few home visits and just invited a bunch of people. We were just having a small church service later that night at just kind of a little park area. So we invited a bunch of people, and then about 15, 20 people showed up. So we got to play with their kids for a while. We just passed around a basketball and just hung out with their kids. Then after that, we had just a small version of the morning church service. And Nicole and I both got to share our testimonies, and Matt gave a short sermon, and we just got to worship with the people. And after that, we just went out to eat and then came back to the church and went to bed.
Like Kelsey said, on the first day, our group split up. I went to Matul, which is on the outside of Merida. That first day, we got to experience a Mexican service and Sunday school. And then we played lots of pickup games of basketball and volleyball. And pretty much just spent the day with that church and the church family, and just got to just hang out with that town.
Okay, so on Monday, we woke up and ate breakfast at the church, and then we went to the market, which was an interesting experience, buying stuff, using pesos and all how that works or whatever. And then we went back to the church and ate lunch, took a nap, and then we went to a part of Merida and played basketball, and that was the first time that we met the ESBA people, who are the people they played with us. And Miguel, he was one of the guys who was with us a lot. He was their coach, and he tries to minister to those kids because not all of them are Christians. So we tried to encourage them as much as we could. And so we played basketball with them, and we had a clinic for the little kids. And then we went back to the church and went to bed.
So the next day was Tuesday, and we woke up pretty early because we had a long drive. We went to a part of Merida called Teskevab, and it's just a little smaller town outside of Merida. So we had our clinic, and there was a bunch of kids there. They ranged from age from like 3 to like 20. So we kind of split up and got just to play basketball with them, and we had a good time doing that. Then after our clinic, we got to share our testimony and just tell them about Jesus, and we got to give them out bracelets and just tell them, these are like the Sports Crusader bracelets, and they just kind of tell the story of Christ. So we got to share that with them, and we just had a good time doing that. And they just would ask us questions and want to take pictures with us, and they just had to sign a bunch of stuff. Like, honestly, like, we felt like celebrities, and I felt so out of place. I'm like, guys, I am not this person that you think I am. And so we did that, and then after that, the girls played a game and the boys played a game. So we played games, and then they fed us lunch there. And we went to a cute little ice cream shop, and it was pretty good ice cream. And then later that afternoon, we went back to the church and took naps. I learned that we take lots of naps in Mexico, and that's something we should bring to the United States, because every afternoon we had a nap. And then after that, we went to a small school, a small Christian school, and we were supposed to play a game, but it turned out to rain. So we just got to hang out with the people on a more personal level, because there was a small awning, so we all had to stand there. So it was kind of closer, and I actually really enjoyed that, and I was surprised because I was not expecting that. So I learned just to go with it. So we had a good time doing that. And then after that, we went out to eat at a really nice restaurant and got to hang out with the ESPA people more. And it was just good for us to hang out with them, because I just like to just share my faith with them, and we just got to be influence them hopefully for their decision someday to follow Christ.
Okay, so on Wednesday, we woke up and our clinic got canceled, so we went to a movie, and that was really awesome. And then we went to have lunch, and then after lunch, we had a nap, and then we went to a clinic, and I don't know how this clinic really went, because I had to sit out because I got sick. So I think the clinic went good. There were older kids, so they were more aggressive and stuff. And the boys played a game. The girls didn't play a game because there wasn't enough girls. And so, yeah.
Okay, so then at the clinic, I'll tell you about it because she got sick. There was a bunch of kids. There was a bunch of like really little kids, and there was a bunch of older guys. So I got to lead a smaller version of the clinic with the little guys, and we just got to work on ball handling drills and just passing, and it was just really fun just to see them just learn and love to play basketball. Then they had a good clinic with the older camp, because they just got to pick up the pace a little bit and just play more basketball that we know. So then the next day, we got back to the church really late the night before. So we got to wake up later and just kind of hang out at the church and rest, because I learned that it's a lot hotter down there. I thought it was really hot in America, but it really wasn't, because the sun just exhausted us, and we literally sweated every time you walked outside. So you would like sprint to the bathroom and sprint back to the air conditioning, so you would sweat half to death. So we just kind of got to hang out at the church and just rest up a little bit. And then we went to a small town again outside of Merida, and we got to lead a clinic, and it was cool because this town was kind of like right on the beach area, so we got to go see the beach, and just it was a pretty nice part of Merida, so we got to lead a clinic, and all these guys came from like club teams, so they knew a little bit more about basketball, so we just kind of got to pick up the pace of the clinic a little bit more and just hang out with them and share our testimonies with them. Then after that, we had a girls' game and a boys' game, and then we went out to eat again, and then I got sick, and so lots of people on our team got sick. So then that was really our last clinic, so everyone just gave it all they had just to hang out with these kids and to show them Christ's love.
Okay, so Friday was our off day, so we didn't have any basketball or any clinics or anything. So we woke up early and we went to Krispy Kreme. And then after that, we went to the beach and we stayed there for a while, and we had a meal on the beach, which was cool. And then after that, we went back to the church and took a nap. And then at around 8 o'clock, the ESBA people came, and we had a church service, and we played volleyball. And the volleyball game was really fun, and we won, and it was pretty intense. So it was really good, like, just to have that party kind of before we went, because it was kind of sad saying goodbye to all those people. But that was Friday.
So we went to bed like really late Friday night. Like I think I got into bed around 2 or 3. So then we woke up the next morning at like 5 o'clock. And then as we're going to the airport, it's about 6. Then Mandy, our group leader, checks our email, and we learned our flight has been delayed to like 10. So we just kind of hang out at the airport, and we're waiting some more. And then finally our crew shows up. And then we waited a little bit more for them to get the plane ready. So we're getting on our plane, and we're about to get to Houston, and we realized, oh my goodness, we don't have that much time to get to our next flight. Like we had an hour and a half, and there was a long line for customs, and they had the security check. So we were like sprinting through the airport as fast as we possibly could to get through the customs line. And we made it through, and they're like, okay, we got to get our luggage. And we're waiting on our luggage. And we realized they actually didn't put our luggage over here. They made a separate little pile. So then we got our luggage, and then we ran some more, and then we made it through the security. And they finally realized, hey, we're good on time. So we got 15 minutes. So we got to finally get some lunch, and then we made it to our next flight. And then we got back to St. Louis last night around 6 o'clock, and then we said our goodbyes to our team, and then we made it home.
My favorite part of the trip was meeting all the new people and like learning more about the culture of Mexico. I also like sharing my testimony with the kids there because the pastor made it more relatable to them because we come from different places, but he made it relatable to them. So that was cool.
My favorite part was hanging out with two girls on the ESBA team, Joanna and Friday, and they're two girls about our age. One just graduated high school, and one's going into college. I think she's a few years in. And they're just working on their relationship with Christ. Like, they know who he is, but they're just working on accepting him. So it was just fun to hang out with them all week and just to encourage them that they really need Christ in their life and just how good he is and how they just want to build that relationship with them. So that was my favorite part, just encouraging them.
My favorite part, I really loved the bus rides. We just got to turn on some Christian music and just hang out. And also loved going to different camps with the friends that this is my third year going, so I've made a lot of friends down there. So just being able to hang out with them and fellowship with them was really cool.
The next question was how we saw God working down there. And I saw it by how the pastor and Miguel, they showed their students how much God loves them and how they just were, like how they acted around them. And they really gave them a great idea of who God is.
I just saw working, there was one guy named Miguel, and he's the ESBA coach, and he's been with this certain group of kids since they were little kids. So like Joanna and Friday, this was their coach. And these girls are now like 19 and 20, and so Miguel has been working with them since they were little, just sharing them about Christ's love. And I just really saw God working through Miguel because he has been working through Sports Crusaders for 11 years, but with these kids even longer. And I know I would just get discouraged if you just tell people about Christ, tell these same kids about Christ every day, and just they continue to turn away. But Miguel, like, he didn't give up. He just kept going, and he just continues to keep sharing the gospel with them. So I just saw a huge encouragement in him. Like, when I get discouraged, I know I can think of him and how he's been doing this for so many years, and he still continues to do it every day, even though he knows that the outcome that day might not be how he thinks, but he just keeps going because he knows that what I say today could lead one more kid to Christ.
I love whenever the pastor or a translator or a camper, when they prayed, either at a camp or at church or just any time, because even though we couldn't really understand what they were saying, we could still feel the Spirit working there in where we were in the town.
Okay, so the last question was one thing we learned down in Mexico. And the one thing I learned was that Mexican people are very content, like where they are. So, like, we would play basketball in 100-degree heat, and we were all dying. And they would just be sweating, they'd be fine. And I don't think they were complaining because I couldn't understand them. But they just seemed, like, happy. Like, they could keep going forever, it felt like. And we had to quit because, yeah, we're not used to that heat. But they were very content people, and it really blessed me and showed me how we should all be more content where we are. And so, yeah.
Okay, I just learned how God's love really, it doesn't have any boundaries. Like, language is not a boundary. Like, I took 1 year of Spanish, and I think I remembered how to ask where's the bathroom and just some, like, random food words. So, we could not speak to them. We had a few interpreters, but really, like, I would just go up to the little kids and we just hang out, high five. Like, God's love has no language. Language is not a boundary. And then I also learned, like, I'm a very, like, schedule person, time person. I also learned that Mexicans don't really have that. Like, they say they're going to leave at, like, 6:40, and then you're pulling out around 7:20. So I just learned just to go with the flow and just roll with it.
Like I said, this is my third year going, so I kind of knew what to expect. And I knew the water was really bad. But anyways, Miguel was passing out these little water tubes that they hand out to everyone. And I didn't really think about it, and I drank like 2 or 3. So I learned what happened to you if you drink the water.
Okay, just to sum up, we just want to thank you guys for just supporting us and sponsoring us, because we know that you guys just gave generous gifts just to help us go, and I'm just so grateful for that, and I know they are too, and we just had a wonderful time, and we're just so excited to be back and just to share everything we've learned, and next week we're going to have a slideshow for you guys, so if anyone has any questions, we just love and come talk to you guys. If you just want to come talk about our trip, we'd love to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Good morning, 9th Street. This is about half of the students who went to CIY, which was in Holland, Michigan, about an 8 or 9 hour drive. We went there. Oh, okay. Chris, tell me. Oh, maybe these. Okay. We went there. These are most of our students. We had a lot of fun learning about Jesus. Went to the beach. But we're just gonna, for the next 30 minutes or so, tell you what happened. So, who wants to start? We're gonna say our name, our grade, and what our favorite part was.
Hi, my name is Jack Pearson. I'm gonna be a sophomore at Eldon High School, and my favorite part about CIY was the worship because everybody gave it all they had and didn't care what anybody thought.
My name is Jacob Krantz, and I'm going to be a junior at Eldon High School, and my favorite part was building strong relationships with everybody in our youth group.
I'm Cole Walker. I'll be a senior here, and my favorite part was definitely seeing Sam getting baptized there in Michigan.
I'm Sam Salmons, and I'm a senior here at Eldon, or will be a senior. And even though water was like 5 degrees, being baptized in Lake Michigan was my favorite part because it's already proven to be like one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
My name is Chloe Wilson. I'll be a senior at Eldon High School, and my favorite part of the week was seeing God work in every single one of our hearts and seeing how the decisions that all of us made to either recommit to Christ or commit to Christ. So that was awesome.
My name is Mariah Wardenberg, and I'll be a junior at Eldon High School, and my favorite part was strengthening and making new friendships that I didn't have before.
My name's Emily Bennett. I will be a junior at Eldon High School. My favorite part was just watching our youth group connect on different levels and just watching us all build off of each other and just growing in our faith and just exploding for the love of Jesus and just keep going.
Hi, my name's Emily Steen. I'm going to be a sophomore at school, the Osage. My favorite part was the worship because it speaks to me differently and it's easier to relate to.
I'm Kelsey Wallace, and I'll be a sophomore. And my favorite part was they showed a video on Tuesday night, I think, and it started out in the beginning when God made the earth, and then Adam and Eve came to the earth, and they just kept going through the story of the Bible about how there's no mistakes, how God can just fix our mistakes, and then how there's always an and then. So there's you just keep going.
Hi, my name's Maddie Yoder. I'm going to be a sophomore at school, the Osage High School. My favorite part was a discipleship class that I took, and it was like 3 things that disciples of Christ face today, and I really enjoyed it. It kind of helped me relate discipleship not only from the Bible but into the real world today, because sometimes you have a hard time applying that with the struggles in society today, and I really liked that class.
Alright, hey guys, my name is Claire Retchin, and I'm going to be a junior at Camdenton High School. And my favorite part was small group because it was a smaller version of youth group time, and it just helped you connect one-on-one with each member of your small group, and your leader just helped you relate to them better.
Hi, I'm Nicole Reynolds, and I'm going to be a junior at Eldon High School. And my favorite part of CIY was the speakers, because every one of them was different in some way, and they all had something different to say.
My name's Isaac Yoder. I'm a senior from School of the Osage High School, My favorite part was just coming together as a youth group because even though we're from different places and do different things, we have in common is that we love Jesus, and that's what I enjoyed. So we're gonna go day by day, and I'm gonna call up someone to come talk about each day and what we learned, what we did. So Emily.
Okay, so day one was mostly a travel day. Wake up really early, come to church, get on a bus for 10 hours, and arrive in Michigan. We got there, we ate dinner, we unpacked, and then it was time for the evening session. The evening session, we worshiped, and then it was sermon time. The person who talked the first day at the sermon, his name was Jasper Rutherford. He's from Ireland, and he talked about following God. But before he started his sermon, he had us do a Selah moment. A Selah moment is where you stop what you're doing and you just listen to what God is trying to tell you. So Selah means stop, exhale, listen, ask, and hear. So stop what you're doing, exhale, listen to what God is trying to tell you, ask for whatever is on your heart, and hear his response. Then he asked us a series of questions throughout the sermon that he really wanted us to think about and write on one of the boards we got from our youth minister and our sponsors that went with us. And so these are the questions I want you guys to think of. Question 1, how do you see yourself? Question 2, how do you think God sees you? Question 3, what will distract you from this week/year? Question 4, what will help you get rid of your distractions? Question 5, choose a word that may describe your main feeling about this week. He gave us 3 words that we had to choose from and write on our board. It was frustrated, faith, or fear. And so then after we did that, he ended with a saying that it says, to follow God, you must follow closely. And then so after the sermon, we had youth group time where we just sat down with our youth group and we just talked about the week or the day, and what we felt our likes and dislikes were about the trip and just everything that was going on through life. And then it was time to go to our dorms.
So what was your likes and dislikes of that day?
My dislike was obviously staying in a van for 10 hours. I really liked listening to the sermon. It really did touch what I was feeling, and it did hit home with some of the points it had. I was very fearful of what the week may have in store for me. And so it was good for me to open up and say that to our sponsors and open up to the youth group and just let them know.
So I forgot to tell you that each day was a different word. So up there you'll see, is that well, starting from up there, it goes around. The first day was follow, second day was see, third day was fail, fourth day was trust, and the last day was repeat. So every day he got a different story of Peter, and it just basically related to what we should do. So who's second? Chloe.
Okay, I have notes on my phone here. So, like Isaac said, throughout the week we were following the life of Peter. And so the second day, they were basically talking about line in the sand moments. So you're either on this side or on this side. And he kind of compared it to having true or not true boxes. So everyone in their life has to put things in true or not true. And so Jesus is the Son of God and Jesus is Lord. So people put that in either a true or not true box. And so then Peter, when Jesus and the disciples arrived at Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, what are people saying about who the Son of Man is? And so they replied, some think he is John the Baptizer, some say Elijah, some say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. So then Jesus kind of draws the line in the sand and he says, and how about you? Who do you say that I am? And Peter says, "You're the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And so basically that was the first time that Peter had declared that to be true. And the speaker, he said, "I know that," oh wait. Then Jesus replied, "God bless you, Simon, son of Jonah. You didn't get that answer out of books or from teachers. My Father in heaven, God himself, let you in on the secret of who I really am, and now I'm going to tell you who you really are." So basically, he's saying that once you figure out who Jesus is going to help you figure out who you are. And and then another thing that the speaker said was, when we declare Jesus as Lord, it reverberates out into our lives, into our relationships, and everywhere we go when we say that Jesus is the Christ. So now Sam is going to tell us a little bit about his realization.
So also on day 2, there was a big basket. They call it a cylinder, and it's metal, so it made a big noise. And there's rocks up there beside it, and if it was your moment to cross the line that you draw in the sand, you could drop a rock in the basket, and it'd make a big noise. So all of the 1,800 students could hear it. And everyone would look down and see you, and everyone would just pray with you and show you love. And then it was either day 1 or early in day 2. Like right before the sermon, the guy said, everyone falls under one of 3 categories. You either know God, want to know God, or want to know. And I fell under the wanting to want to know, because I've always known who God was, but I never fully accepted the Lord as my Savior. And then on day 2, something was just pulling me to go drop a rock into the basket. So I did, and then from then on, I've just looked at everything different.
This is day 3.
So on day 3, the speakers talked about failure, and we discussed how Peter refused to believe that he could fail Jesus. Jesus was talking to all the disciples, and he told them that at some point during your life you will fail me. And Peter said, I will die before I fail you. And Jesus knew that he would fail and make a mistake. And when he did that, Jesus wasn't angry. He's never angry when we make a mistake. He always responds with disappointment, but then immediately forgiveness. He's never dwelling on anything that we've done or any mistakes we've made. He always wants to move forward from that. And I think that's really encouraging for anybody, because we've all made mistakes. And my favorite quote from the speaker during the evening session was, they said that Jesus doesn't pray for us not to fail. He prays for us to come back stronger from that failure and that mistake.
Was that the beach day? That's Thursday, okay. All right, Maddie.
Hi, I'm talking about day 4. Day 4 was Thursday, and it was trust. In the morning, in our morning session, it talked about how people needed to trust that Jesus was alive in different ways. They talked about how Mary, Jesus spoke her name, and she knew that Jesus was alive and had came back from the dead. Peter and John saw the folded linens in the tomb, in the empty tomb, and that's how they realized that Jesus had resurrected. And then Thomas had to see his body and had to see the holes in his hand to trust that he had actually came back. And I thought that was powerful for me, because each people see Jesus differently and accept him in their own time. And that kind of hit me there. In the night session, the speaker, her name was Noemi Sanchez. I really liked her a lot. It was really powerful for me to see a female speaker. It's something I enjoyed, and I thought that she was a great speaker and how she could hold an attention of a room. She talked about how Jesus met Peter while fishing, and 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 the answer for what you're looking for is not in the hand of another person, but it's in the hand of Jesus, like how Peter took Jesus' hand. She also talked about Jeremiah in the Old Testament. So I really liked how she connected both the Old Testament and the New Testament. And she said, she talked about this potter story where Jeremiah went to the potter's house and saw him working on a marred vessel, and how he scrapped it all and created something new and beautiful. And that's kind of what Jesus does for us. He scraps us and creates us something into new and beautiful. She said, you are still you, but you are no longer you. And that kind of was something that hit me really hard. And also, we had to write something down about like what you wanted to trust God in like your ministry. And I just wrote down the ability to change the church. And because I want to be able to change the church and make it grow and make it change and make it develop into something bigger.
So I'm day 5, which is the last day. So we went to a night service, and after that we were gonna pack. But we went to this night service. This is the last one. The band was playing, extremely powerful. By the end of the service, there were 3 pulls, and each pull had a different bracelet. There was Abide, Together, and Reach. So I went to Reach, and every one you go to, there's a youth minister to pray with you and to guide you. Abide is to help you follow Jesus and follow what he wants. Together is to find people that share the same love of Jesus with you. And share is to share that love of Jesus that you have found. And so we each went to that and experienced that. And then when we went back to our seats, there is a giant Bible verse up on the screen. And I can share what the Bible verse was. It was Acts 4:29. Now, Lord, consider their threats and enable your servant to speak your word with great boldness. So the preacher told us to pray this or speak this in any way you want. He said you can scream it or say it to yourself or any way. Or stand up or sit down, it doesn't matter. So most of the people, we sat down and we started praying and saying these words. It was pretty quiet, and then you hear someone stand up and yell those words. He just yelled, "Now Lord, consider their threats and enable your servants to speak your word with great boldness." And he started yelling that, and there's 1,800 people in here. And now there's 5 other people yelling these words and proclaiming it to the world. And then there's 100 other people, and it just grows and grows. And we're standing up and we're yelling with all of our heart. And it was probably one of the most impactful things in my life, just to see the amount of youth and kids that are contributing to Lord's kingdom. And just it was extremely powerful to me, just to see the kids and just the ability that we have to make on the world, that nothing can stop us if the Lord's with us. So that was our trip, and we thank you. Oh yeah, and we have Ireland. So I always forget about Ireland.
So the mission for the week was Ireland, and Claire's going to go into more detail about it in a second. But before, we just learned how broken Ireland was, and they played a video for us one morning, and we kind of knew what the video was about. It was about suicide in Ireland, and so we were all just coming to it with very mixed feelings. And so we watched the video, and it was just about this one guy's story about how he lived in Ireland and how just broken the country is, and how he was going to commit suicide, but then he found Jesus, and it just helped him realize that that's not worth it. So then we just kind of got to just come together as a youth group and just sharing our feelings about it. and just how that we can just help encourage people. And so I'm glad that we got to have that time together because we just came together closer because that's not something that we normally talk about together. So we just had an interesting and a good time talking about that.
All right, so like Kelsey said, I'm going to talk about Ireland, and that was the main mission of the week. What they wanted to do there was just they campaigned to have a move event there in 2019. So that's what we were giving our offer. Well, not our offering. They gave us the option to put money in these little envelopes, and it's moved to Ireland, and it's just it would help them bring the event there in 2019. But the reason they want to bring it there is because they don't have very much community or fellowship in their church with their youth, and they don't really have anyone to listen to them, and that's really why there's a high suicide rates, because no one's really there to pay attention to them and talk to them or listen to them and hear what they have to say about their lives. And so another thing that happened to me was I was flag bearer during the week, which meant you would go up on stage in front of all the people and you would get the flag, and during the day you would have to pray with your youth group or group 2 times, and then during the day you would pray with all the people who came up to you. They would come up to you because carrying the flag was like a reminder that you needed to pray about for Ireland during the week. So they would come up to you and just say, can we pray with you for Ireland? And you would say, of course, yes. And it was really fun. And also on that day we went to the beach, so I brought the flag to the beach, and you couldn't walk like 3 feet without someone stopping you and praying with you, and it really helped me helped me step out of my comfort zone, because you would just pray with these random people that you've never seen before, and it helped me come outside of my shell. And also we went to the beach, and it was awesome because we had pizza, and Sam got baptized there, and there was this pier that you could jump off of, which lots of us did, and so yeah, it was a really fun experience.
So I think that's what we have. I think we have a PowerPoint, but I just think we all want to say thank you for your help in this trip and all the experiences we had.